Hello, welcome fifth graders to Monday. Today is April 20th. We are starting our next 2 weeks. I want to walk you through the packet, let you know what you're going to have inside, let you know the expectations for these 2 weeks. I put an assignment list on the cover of your packet. Hopefully that will help each of you. We are starting a new chapter. Today is chapter 9. We've already done 10 and 11, so we're taking a step backwards, but it's still in the same section. What we're going to be doing in this chapter is we're going to be learning about graphing, a little bit about data. That's what 6th grade has been working on for the last couple of weeks. Okay, so on your assignments, make sure you do a warm-up each day. You have one for each day, 2 in this period, 1 for this week, 1 for next week. We do 2 stations. Your first station will be on, well, I think they're both on Tuesday, trying to make it easy for you. Okay? There's 7 lessons in this cycle, so we'll do all of the lessons in these 2 weeks. At the end of these 2 weeks, when we start our final period before school's out, that's when we'll do our chapter 9 test. That's the last test of the school year. So we're almost there, guys, which is pretty awesome. Okay, some things that we want to know for this section. So let's introduce you. We're learning about graphing. Okay, when I look at a graph, what I know about my graph is first of all, this is a coordinate grid. Okay, there's a x-axis and there's a y-axis. The x-axis always goes horizontally, okay, it goes left to right. The y-axis always goes vertically. Think of a vertical jump, up and down, okay? We're going to learn how to graph our x and our y's. When we graph, x is always listed first, y is always listed second. That's one of those math rules, that's just how it works. So if I have the ordered pair, this is called an ordered pair, of 1, 2. That means that I have an x of 1 and a y of 2. Remember, x is horizontal. So it's positive 1, so I go over 1 on the x line, and then it's positive 2. So I go over up 2 on the y line, and that's where I'm going to put my point. Okay, this is point 1, 2. With graphing, you can have both positive and negative numbers. So these are basically number lines. You have 0 in the center. Everything positive goes to the right. Everything negative goes to the left. On the y-axis, everything positive goes up. Everything negative goes down. So very easy to remember those. It just kind of makes sense. So let's look at a couple of points. If I have negative 2 and 4, negative 2 I would look at as my x. So I come to my x-axis, I go 2 in the negative direction, and then I go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's where I'm going to put my line. Okay, that's where I'm going to put my ordered pair or my dot. If I have, let's say I have negative 2 and negative 4, again I would go negative 2, this time I would go down, that point would be right here. Okay, graphing will be a large part of what we do in this chapter. Today we're learning about line plots, which is a good segue into graphing, but most of what we'll be doing will be looking at order pairs, understand how they go on our graph. Let me see if I can get my eraser quick. One other thing that I teach my 5th and 6th graders is to identify quadrants. When you're talking about a quadrant, it's basically the layout of the coordinate grid. Okay, this is quadrant 1. They usually use They usually use Roman numerals. Come on, Bauer, spit it out. Okay, so quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. Those might be important if you need to explain to somebody where you're looking at on the graph. You could say, area, I'd like you to go to quadrant 4. You know I'm talking about this right here because that's quadrant we're in. On quadrant 4, I'd like you to go to +2, -4. Okay? It's just a way of explaining where you're at on your graph. I remember it because it makes a C. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And really, you'll need to know more of that in 6th grade. It's just kind of an introduction in 5th grade. Okay, so let's look at our assignment for today. It is 9.1. On 9.1, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be creating a line plot. Okay, line plot is exactly that. Here's my line. Think of it as a number line. Okay. They created one for you. They have a half, a fourth, and 3/4. Okay, simple number line. It's just using fractions. What they've done is they've given you some data. So this is a clerk in a health store makes food bags for Trumex. The amount of Trumex in each bag is listed below. And then it lists off 8 or 10 different values for there. What you need to do today is you are going to say, okay, how many, so you made your line plot, you're going to say, how many bags do I have that are 1/4 inch? Maybe you have 4, okay? And then how many that are half? Let's say you have 2. I'm not looking at your answers because I don't want to give you the answers. There's only a couple on your assignment. I want you to figure those out. But I want you to understand, okay? So, and then let's say 3/4, maybe you have 2 of those. It's going to ask you things like, tell me the total weight of all the bags. If this was me and I was figuring that out, I would say, okay, 1/4, I have 4. 4/4 is 1 whole. Okay, half, I have 2. 2 halves is also 1 whole. And then 3/4, I have 2. 3/4 plus 3/4 would be a whole and a half. Then I could easily add those up. I have 1 whole, 1 whole, 1 whole and a half. This would be 3 wholes and 1 half if this was your data. Remember, your data is going to be a little bit different because I'm just kind of pulling these out of my head. Okay. It might ask you things like, what's the combined weight of 1/4 bags? Well, that's easy. I have 4 of them. That's a whole or a pound, whatever it is you're talking about. Okay, what's the combined weight of 3/4 bags? Well, I have 2 of them. That's easy. I can add those up. Okay. The last question it's going to ask you is to find the average amount. So to find the average amount, this 6th graders are learning this right now, mean, average, range, all of those data points. Average is the same as mean. It is a data point. How I find that is I take my combined weight of everything, in this case it's 3.5, and then I divide by the amount of data points that I have. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total. So if I take 3.5, right here, 3 1/2, or let's write it different. Let's say 3.5. I divide that by the 8 points that I have, the 8 values. 8 does not, let's see, 8 goes into 3.5. I know that 8 times 4 is 32. I have 3 left over, add a 0. 8 goes into 30, 8, 16, 24. 3 times, which is 24. 6 left. You can keep carrying that out. You really only need to go out 2 spots. That will be close enough for your assignment today. So the average or the mean of all of these dots is going to be 0.43. That means that if I take and find, so I make each one the same, that would mean each one would get 0.43 of a pound. Okay, that is your assignment today. Again, if you have questions, you may reach out to me. Remember, today is packet day, so you can pick up your packet at the school, or you can print paper copies. if you print paper copies, you're welcome to just do it on a piece of paper and cement the stuff on a piece of paper. For math, I put everything in one lump, all in one attachment. So if you're only printing some of the stuff, you might have to just choose the pieces that you want. Okay? All right, 5th graders, I'll send some duck photos. Have a wonderful week. We can get through this. We're excited to get going on school again. So goodbye.